Welcome to the Essential Geopolitics podcast from Stratfor, a RAIN company. I'm Emily Donahue. In this podcast, the conversation is about developing tensions between Turkey and Greece. Emily Hawthorne, our Middle East and North Africa analyst, has the details. Emily, welcome.
Thank you, Emily.
So what is behind heightened tensions right now between Turkey and Greece?
Yeah, so to anyone familiar with Mediterranean issues or, the history of the world wars, the existence of strain between Turkey and Greece is not going to be a surprise. But that is what makes it such a fascinating geopolitical dispute, because it is grounded in geography and in military history. Long story short, Turkey and Greece are still involved in their long-standing territorial disputes, and recent actions by Turkey, specifically exploring for oil and gas, are aggravating them. I want to talk about two issues briefly that are in the spotlight right now between Turkey and Greece. And that main one really is that Turkey is exploring for oil and gas offshore in the Mediterranean. There are two issues that are in the spotlight right now between Turkey and Greece. Turkey's been edging further and further away from what most countries would accept to be its exclusive economic zone for exploring for resources offshore, and it's edging closer and closer to what Greece and what Cyprus consider to be their exclusive economic zone. Turkey, of course, is using its claims to northern Cyprus, and Turkey is the only country that recognizes Turkey's claims over northern Cyprus, but it's using that to explore this far out. And meanwhile, Greece uses some islands to establish its own maritime territory, and Turkey thinks that those islands are too close to Turkey. The other issue that is less immediate but is still causing friction between Turkey and Greece is a recent court decision in Turkey that makes the Hagia Sophia monument, a former Byzantine cathedral, into a mosque.
Yeah, I saw that. So what is motivating Turkey in these disputes?
So there's a lot behind these Turkish actions. And of course, these are two different issues, but they are two issues that really aggravate tensions between Turkey and Greece specifically. The Hagia Sophia could be a lengthy conversation in and of itself, of course, but given the economic struggles that Turkey is facing, President Erdogan seems to be trying to score some political points with Turkey's Islamists, with some of his political base, and this has been a long-standing sort of dream almost for Turkey's Islamist political class to sort of return the Hagia Sophia from being a monument into a mosque. Of course, this is very controversial. It's alarming to the global Orthodox community. It's a huge seat of which is in Greece, and it's alarming to the Catholic community. But there are political reasons for this, and it sort of ties in with President Erdogan's political Islamist ideology. In terms of the Eastern Mediterranean, it's all about economic potential. The Eastern Mediterranean has become somewhat of a gold rush as countries like Israel and Egypt have managed to find large discoveries of oil and gas resources offshore in recent years. Greece was most recently alarmed by Turkey announcing it would be deploying seismic vessels to waters between Crete and Cyprus. And Turkey has steadily, over the last couple of years, been announcing more exploration, the deployment of yet more seismic and drilling vessels, and it really shows no sign of stopping. And so there are really, it's economic and political, as so often are the motivators behind actions like this.
In regards to political, can we expect any retaliation?
So it's important to notice here that the EU at large, which has, of course, a tumultuous relationship with Turkey, Turkey's been in an accession process to the EU for decades that has been hung up on a number of issues. But the EU has threatened sanctions on Turkey for its actions in the Eastern Mediterranean, as well as a whole host of other Turkish actions, including, for instance, Turkey's deepening military involvement in Libya. But it's important to note that Greece is definitely the country in the EU that is the most upset about Turkey's actions. So that kind of makes this somewhat of a bilateral issue. So Greece is going to really have to build up a case to the rest of the EU for stronger sanctions or for stronger actions against Turkey. The reality is Turkey is such a useful partner to the EU for so many reasons. It would take a pretty egregious Turkish action to motivate the EU as a whole to implement tough sanctions that would actually hurt.
So what are you watching for next?
Because this is overwhelmingly a bilateral issue between Turkey and Greece, something that the EU cares about, something that the global community cares about, but at its core, Greece is the most upset about especially the exploration in the Eastern Mediterranean, it's likely this issue stays one of simmering tension and doesn't boil over into an outright war, of course. But given the history of these two countries coming to blows, there is always the possibility of outright conflict. So we do have to keep an eye on both the Turkish and the Greek navies, because there is a risk of a clash. Turkey's exploration vessels have been accompanied in the past by Turkish naval vessels, and Greece has said, as recently as recent weeks, that their navy is at the ready, sort of keeping an eye on Turkish seismic exploration. Aside from watching the risk of a clash, we do have to watch and see how the EU discusses this and whether they're able to cobble anything together that's more than, toothless or symbolic sanctions. And that would be as a result of Greek and Cypriot lobbying. So that's another thing to watch, is just what happens in the discussions between EU leaders about this issue.
So Emily Hawthorne, Middle East and North Africa analyst for Stratfor Worldview, watching for the risk of engagement between Turkey and Greece, as well as EU reactions to what's going on. You can read all of her analysis and forecasting on the region with a subscription to Stratfor Worldview. You can find details at stratfor.com/podcast offer. I'm Emily Donahue. Thanks for listening.